Hi, and welcome to the Organic Beehive channel. So today I'm really excited because I have been dreaming this vision up for probably a year, like since we built our chicken coop. I have more kind of like usable space now to add more to the garden, as if I needed more. No, I mean, on a suburban lot, you've got to get creative and figure out ways that you can obviously plant more things. So for right now, all we have is 4 garden beds. We do have room to expand and do 4 more beds, but last year that coop took so much work and, quite honestly, a lot of money that we just needed a break from those big projects. So our compromise, our happy medium, if you will, was to create just like a little, not even garden bed, but you know, landscape where we can plant more things around the chicken coop and run. It's very big, this coop and run, so the edge of it we can just grow so much more now. It just didn't make sense to put plants in the middle of the yard when you have kids playing and stuff. So now that we have a coop here, obviously I can use the space around it to add more flowers. So that is kind of the goal this year. Sorry, I'm like looking down at the garden that we just created, and there's a couple reasons why we did it. One, because we wanted to. We wanted space to add more, but it's also going to be functional. So here in our location, it gets hot and humid, and when it comes to heat, the chickens can get overheated very easily, and so we wanted to add really tall plants, viney plants that would provide shade. So that is a big factor in creating this garden around the run. The second function is obviously for them to be able to forage and to feed on. So all of these plants that we are planting today are safe for chickens to eat and actually quite healthy. Now, before we get started on the fun stuff, which is planting the flowers, we do have to prep the space in order to be able to plant our flowers, because what we had around the run originally was just lawn. And so I'm going to show you step by step what we did to prepare for this garden. And not only that, I'm really excited to share it because what I'm sharing is super budget friendly. This is one of those things you can do to start a garden no matter where you're at, and it is so budget friendly. I think the only thing that we bought were landscape timbers for edging, but you can get creative and use other things as well. And we bought a little bit of topsoil. We did not have topsoil. I think we purchased construction sand and one other thing. I don't remember, but I think it was in the video that I'm about to show you. But anyways, super budget friendly, so no matter your financial situation, if you save things up that would otherwise go into the garbage and the landfill, you can use those things to start your garden bed today that are going to feed your soil and just make it super healthy to help your plants thrive. Mama. What I did to prepare for the space originally was I threw tarp down just to kind of start to kill the grass underneath it, because if you know, when you have grass coming in through your garden, it
is impossible to get it out. So we tried this. We probably should have put the tarp on in the fall, but we really didn't get to it until about January. The pots are only there to keep the tarp from blowing away. And as you can see, our chickens have scratched a whole bunch of wood chips onto the tarp too. So I'm gonna have to clean that up and figure out a solution moving forward for the garden. There was a lot more wood chips than I thought on this tarp. I think I ended up filling a gorilla cart full of this stuff, but wood chips are so good in your garden. We use it for obviously the kitchen scratch, we use it for compost, and we use it for mulch for our garden. So many uses. We ended up getting the wood chips originally for the chicken run. We got it through chipdrop.com, I believe it was. I'll link that in the description below, but do be prepared for our little suburban house. It was a lot of wood chips, and we didn't even go through probably a fourth of what they sent us. We ended up having to put a post up on Marketplace and give some for free, but it was nice because we were able to give to others that needed it too. And the tarp, for only doing this in January and pulling it up in the beginning of April, I did a pretty decent job of killing the grass. You can definitely see the line where the tarp stopped. And this is one of those gardening videos I really wanted to share because I do want to show you that it doesn't have to be a huge financial investment. You can use a lot of the things that you have on hand to be able to start this garden. After I took the tarp off, I went ahead and with my weed whacker, I tried to get all of the grass cut as close as I could to the ground. And that grass, that extra grass, is going to be nitrogen that is an important nutrient in your soil's health. So with this garden, what we've decided as a family to essentially do for just like any garden we do is we don't till the ground. We are simply adding nutrients to the soil and building it up instead. There are so many different ways to do this. I've mentioned in past videos, No Dig Gardening goes into this a lot in his videos, and I will link his YouTube in the description below. And I've also seen Homesteading Family do a version of this, and I will link their video in the description below. And I'm just taking that same concept for our garden because I believe it to be the healthiest for the soil, and your plants are really nothing without good soil. And the other reason I like this process of adding to it is it's easier and it is really, really cheap. Again, I'm just using things that I already have on hand. We've chosen to do a depth of 2 feet. I think any bigger and it would be hard to get to any of the plants that are closer to the run there. And gosh, another really great thing, and we always joke when we add more things to the landscape, is it's less to mow. And if you know my husband, once he gets started, he's fine, but it's the motivation of mowing the lawn that, takes a little coaxing. And I couldn't have gotten any of this project done without teamwork, without my family. And we were all out here, taking on different parts. And the weed whacker, it's such an adult, technological, outdoor gadget. And I think that it looks appealing to our kids. And we need to give them those opportunities to be able to show us how capable they are, because I think we do underestimate kids. And she just, at the end of the day, she was like, I'm really glad we got to work on this together. And I just love these opportunities. And I try not to rush projects like this so that, they really are teaching moments for our children. Now the grass adds nitrogen to the soil, so after weed whacking and cutting it as close as we could to the ground, we took a rake and all those loose pieces we just dug right back into the space.
Can I show them what our chickens?
They're eating the grass.
Now, since we were building up the soil, we decided to put some landscape timbers so that we had the space to add more of those nutrients. So we went with landscape timbers, which were probably the most budget-friendly option for us at the time. Now, there is a big difference between men and women. God love him for it. He was just so meticulous about putting these landscape timbers on. Now, if it were me, I'd probably just throw it down, look at it with the naked eye, and determine whether it was straight or not. But no, he was making sure each, board was level. And, like I said, I love him for it because it really did turn out so beautiful and straight in the end. Here he's just digging up some of the grass to make the ground more level for the landscape timbers to sit on. We had some construction sand lying around that we ended up using to be able to get the landscape timbers more level. So that's just what he's doing here. He's adding a little bit of sand underneath to the spots that need to get straightened out. have to say, the reason that I would have just laid the landscape timbers down is honestly because I am an instant gratification girl. So this was the part I was waiting for, that I was most excited about. This is the part where we can start adding and it starts coming together and looking more like a garden. So first we cut the grass really low where we wanted the garden to go. We raked all those grass clippings in for nitrogen, and now I had just like a food grade bucket where I was keeping food scraps for several weeks. You know, banana peels, eggshells, apple cores, broccoli stem, you know, whatever we weren't eating, it went into this bucket and we saved it for weeks. And this is now going into the garden, adding nutrients into the soil, just like compost. And it's great food even for the critters, which we want to attract, at least the good ones. The next layer, which I did not have on hand, you know, we had just started saving the food waste like 2 weeks prior to this. And as much as my husband loves coffee, I knew that we were not going to go through that many coffee grounds. But if you do happen to have that, or, you know, plan better than I did, you could also, after the food waste, add coffee grounds to the soil, organic preferably, and that's going to add the nitrogen as well. And then, as you can see here, we are adding, we just happened to go to a big box home improvement store, and we got some manure. Ideally, like just didn't have enough chicken manure to put on here. We had used that for other things, but you could use chicken manure, cow, goat, or rabbit if you have that on hand. We next topped all that off with some cardboard. Now, again, because I didn't plan very well, I did not soak the cardboard. Ideally, I would have done that in the Gorilla Cart or something big like that. Put the cardboard in and topped it with water and let it soak, but I didn't. So, as you can see, I put a layer of cardboard down, 2 layers. So my Amazon boxes, my Azure Standard boxes, whatever I had been saving this for a year. I put it in the garden. And let me tell you, it feels good to be able to use up that otherwise garbage into your garden. Just make sure that you take all the stickers and stuff off the cardboard. But here, my daughter is just making sure it is soaked up nice and good.
Did I measure it right, or did I,
We'll find out.
or do I gotta run back to home?
No, we're not running back to Home Depot.
You grab the other hand?
Short here, so.
I did it.
You did it again?
Through this whole process, you do want to make sure that everything is well soaked. I probably would have soaked it more had I been in a different location, but we have clay and that water just sits. It does not drain well. We are adding another layer now. We are adding topsoil, which we did actually get from a big box home improvement store. I would probably use better topsoil if you're using it for the vegetable garden. But this whole project, it holds a few different functions. One, it's going to be beautiful. At least in my head, I envision it being so beautiful. It's going to be full of flowers. But the flowers are going to provide some function for us as well. All the flowers that we are growing along the run here, the chickens will be able to eat. And they also are going to provide shade for the chickens. So we're going to be planting some calendula, which we will actually probably use for salves and such around the house. We will do some sunflowers, which obviously they can have the seeds from, and they're huge, so they'll provide shade. The nasturtium is going to vine up the wall and over the run, which I cannot wait to see what that looks like. And again, the chickens can eat it and it provides shade. And we're going to do a little bit of marigold as well, which can help keep pests away and will also be great food for the chickens. But all that to say, because it is not for our vegetable garden, we kind of just took a shortcut as far as finances went and just got the cheap topsoil, from Home Depot. And I did not film this part because it was done at a different time. We had to, we had just started composting and we hadn't had a sifter. So we had to go build that out, and then we actually had to sift the compost. So I didn't actually film that process, but you would add compost then to the very top, and you could do about a 1/2 inch to 2 inches if you would like, but again, ours was free. And so it was just really cool to think about all the stuff that otherwise would have been added to the landfill that I could use for my garden. So all in all, we bought the tarp, the timbers, construction sand, which we actually happen to have on hand, and topsoil. And that was all we needed for this project, which came out to be very budget friendly. Here is how it's looking. Now you have your soil prepared and you can sow your seeds directly into the ground, or you can wait, or you can plant your seedlings in. We are going to get ready to plant some of those seedlings. Also, I just want to remind you that I do have a blog where it has all my posts and videos and just more description about what was shared today. So you could always go and type in the search bar what you're looking for and you will find the blog posts, and I will also be sure to link those blog posts in the description box below. There are 2 blog posts that go with this video. The first one is the most budget-friendly way to start a garden, and the other one I have will be chicken-safe plants and flowers that you can grow along your run. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.